All right, welcome to our very next episode of Daddy Talk. We have our friend and brother Carl Muhammad on, and we're going to get right to it. Daddy Talk around the world. Um, Carl, I'm glad you could come on, and I been watching you for years and doing your thing. You really helped us early on, and uh, did a great job of. You're always doing a great job of parenting, and so I really wanted to have this, conversation with you because I think it's important. But my first question um, is, would you support a shared parenting bill? It's a 50-50 bill for fathers to have access to their children equally, right? So a shared parenting bill. Would you support that shared parenting bill?
Yes, no, I would definitely support that because in every child's life, it's important to have both parents, um, unless some type of special issue, one parent is violent, whatever, things like that. But on a normal realm, both parents are working, doing what they can best, and they got the best, as long as they got the best interest of the child at hand and not worried about each other, just worried about the child. I'm in full support of that, yeah, because the child needs both families and both sides to understand themselves and become a better individual in life.
Right, which plugs our motto: kids need both parents. My second question is, and again, as I is, we don't often get these stories, so we think it's important that you share your fatherhood story. So, what is your fatherhood story? You can take it from being with your dad, whatever the story, however you want to share it. It is your time to share your fatherhood story.
Well, my dad, hard worker, um, been in my life my whole life, even to this day. Whatever I needed there, he was there for me. Very attentive. Had good conversations, sat me down, let me know how to be a man, and just showing by example. Just seeing him on a daily basis, get up, uh, earn for a living, do what he had to do, make sure we had everything we needed. Um, my mother was around too, so they were still married. So just seeing the interaction and how a man's supposed to treat a woman, how he's supposed to talk to a woman. Um, I can remember very little argument, nothing loud. If so, the other one might have told him like, hey, relax, or they told each other to calm down. But for the most part, I've never seen that. I've never seen my dad put his hands on my mother, anything of that nature. So, growing up as a child, I definitely had a very, very good influence as far as from my father and how to be a man and how to raise my children and put your children first. He used to. I remember one time I came to him, I needed a loan for college. He was like, son, I actually was about to take this money and invest it in something for the family. But if you need this, I'm going to go on and give it to you instead. So I was like, yeah, I really did need that. So, I appreciate him, showing me the ropes and showing me things of that nature too. Sometimes you have to sacrifice what you want for your children because they didn't ask to be here. So I definitely love him for that, and that's definitely instilled in me as the man I am with my children. So I know it definitely came from that. It definitely, he's been a great influence. He's a great father. Always came supported me in my basketball games, things of that nature. Just very supportive, like how parents supposed to be, rough around the edges a little bit, which came up in a different era, which is okay. It is some of what was going on back then. We still, I think, need today a little extra toughness with some of these kids. They're a little soft, but he definitely instilled in me to be a man, speak up for yourself, look a person in the eye, shake their hand, firm handshake, a lot of little things, open doors for women, a lot of little things that a lot of young folks nowadays take for granted. Being a man, I've been out in public and opened the car door for a woman, and they're like, I just seen other people just amazed by that. And I'm like, that's little stuff. That's what we're supposed to do as men, fathers or not, for our women. So, but definitely for our children, I open the doors for my little girls, so they know like this is what men's supposed to do.
Right.
So yeah, but I definitely had a great influence from my father, showing me how to definitely be a man. He's always been there for me, and I couldn't thank him more for setting that example and showing me the ropes.
And your story as a father?
My story as a father, man. It's funny how children change you. Like man, my story, man. You know, I was like I said, for my father was kind of like that tough love. So you know, crying and all that wasn't no, you know, you wipe them tears away and all that type of stuff. But when I had my daughter at 28, my oldest, my firstborn, it changed who I was as a man. Period. Like I don't know if every man gets this energy or this situation, but man, it totally changed to the fact of even like watching emotional movies and stuff like that. I'll start crying and stuff like, and I had never done this before. Like, and I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like, so you notice emotionally you start to change as a man. You know, things that you thought was soft once upon a time, you look at totally different now. Because you look at like, well, wow, like this little person didn't change me so much, you know. I remember even dating her mother when we was together. She's always wanted me to go for walks to stuff like that with her. And I would, but I wasn't always wanting to go. But with my daughter, it's like, let's go for every time she asked me to go for a walk. He's like, all right, let's go. Like, so definitely little girls definitely changed. She's my first oldest boy. All of them changed my life, but she changed me like even to this day. Um, like it's just a totally difference when you start having children and just thinking about them first before you make any decision. My lifestyle totally changed. You know, I would instead of hanging out or going to do this, you know, of course I'm thinking about her, thinking about them first. Like, no, I need to go do this, or I need to save this money. I need to put this to the side. No, it might be a rainy day for her. She might need her mother might need some money for her. She might need some money, period, regardless of whatever the situation is. You know, I can't go hang out with the fellas this week. I shouldn't go hang out with the fellas this weekend and spend and blow this money. So, you know, that's definitely children change how you walk, think, talk. I mean, it is totally mind-boggling how they change you. And I got 4 girls. So I got 4 girls, and all of them have changed me differently, in a sense that have definitely helped me to be more patient. Um, but they just make you more sensitive, though. They bring out, especially if you hadn't brought out that side, if that
Right.
side of you hadn't been brought out already, and it
Right.
had.
Right.
So them children, I mean, ain't no woman didn't brought out. Well, I ain't gonna say that. Now I have a woman, my wife in my life now has brought that out of me. But prior to that, I've never had a woman bring even that sensitive side out of me like that. How children will. Like I say, that crying stuff, like, man, I'll be like, what? Like, just crying, just sensitive, like extra, almost thinking like, man, sensitive, almost
Right.
extra sensitive. But no, that's just how, you know, sometimes your emotions are. It's just life, you know. It doesn't
Right.
change who you are as a man. It doesn't make you soft. It doesn't make you girly. It doesn't
Right.
make you any of that thing. It just makes you a father.
Right.
Plain and simple.
Right. Right.
It
Right.
makes,
Because
it
you
makes,
could really, you know, it was the one thing that tear down the last wall for you to experience that emotion, and it's healthy, right?
very
Because
healthy. Yeah.
very healthy, yeah. Because all the stuff that you've gone through, right? Every time you have that moment, it's gonna tug on that.
Because I can count on my hands how many times I've seen my father cry. You
Right.
know, I can count on my hands how many times. But like I said, he grew up in a different time. He was raised differently.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. So you know, don't take nothing. I mean, I know he loved me. I know he loves me. So it was
Right.
no question about that. But I've noticed my love for my children is more sensitive. You know, I am more, I guess, hands-on with them as far as lovey-dovey, crying and stuff like that.
Right.
You know, things that my father was more a little bit more tougher, a little bit more rougher. Even though he was sensitive too at times, but just
Right.
you know, that was more my mother's role.
Right.
So she would be there for that. But
Right.
yeah, but I've definitely that has been man. Like
Right.
I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it for nothing though. You know.
Right.
It's definitely something that every young man I come across and I see, like, it's your first time. I do the Uber part time too. So I had a guy in the Uber one day. I remember he was in there going to I know his girl just had the baby. And I'm like, where you going? I was like, why are you leaving the hospital? Like, where you going? He's like, oh no, I've been up here for a couple of days. She said I can go chill for a second. I was like, I don't know, brother. I was like, I think you should still be here. I was like, I don't think you should leave. He
Right.
was like, no, I've been here for me. He was like, really, I need to go take this. I'm coming back, so I ain't gonna be gone long. I was like, that's cool, man. He was like, don't be gone too long though. He was like, yeah, she sleep, the baby sleep. I was like, well, that's good. He's like, everything's checked out. She doing good. They doing good. And I was like, that's good, man. But he was so ecstatic though. He was pumped. He was happy, and it was just good to hear that story, just from another young brother too. He was only like 19, 20 years old, and to have this old spirit in the way he talked, I was just like, it blew my mind. I was just amazed by it. And I was proud of him too. I was like, man, that's good, brother. I was like, make sure you're in that child's life no matter what happens. Period. If that child didn't ask to be here, plain and simple.
To elaborate on that, right? Right. So that's all healthy masculinity, the experience that you have. It contrasts what they say that we're nurturers, where they say we're not nurturers. It's incredible about that. But when you become a dad, that's what happens. You embark on it's a whole nother level, because you are accumulating, from my point of view, you are accumulating the other essence and ingredients and the values that come with being a father. You was 28, all of a sudden you got a child. It was like, oh, so what is all this going to happen? And you are awakened to a whole nother thing. But I want to give you these couple little points before we go to the last question. And it's funny, we've been putting out the values of father, and here's one of them. Children are 39% more likely to earn A's in school because a father is involved. Now we yell and scream, right? We yell and scream about, he got bad grades, he got this, he got that, the whole nine. And so when they come to my mentoring program, one of my first questions to her is, where's his dad? Right? And so we get an array of different answers, but that's generally when I meet, right? Where's the dad? And so what has happened over the time in our program, there are more dads, involved dads. So it's taking our parental involvement to another level. Like if you would have saw the pancake breakfast, it was just amazing, because we had these 21 boys serving the community, right? And the kids that was either missing a parent, right? Or all the kids that had both parents, right? Somehow they just all vibed well, right? And understanding how important you are, that's why I kind of read that. Here's another one. They are 45% less likely to repeat a grade. Now, if you knew this information, you want to know why your son is being kicked out of school. You want to know why your son is flunking. You want to know why your child is not, right? Where's the father, right? Because like you was telling the young guy to go back to the hospital, the reason why that's so important is because spiritually, you're constantly being connected to your child. So your presence is so important at the birth, right? Because if you're not there, right, there's infant mortality was one of the things that's on here. Infant mortality, or did I take that off? Right. Fathers being right. Yeah, fathers. Okay, let's take it to reading. Right. So fathers who read to their children directly impacts language and literacy development of their kids. Right. So our ingredients to a child is very, very important. But when a man is present during the pregnancy, infant mortality is decreased. When he's not there, it's increased. So how important are you, right? Am I miscarrying because I'm worried that you're going to leave? Or am I miscarrying, right, because we're not getting the full ingredients from you being present? If I'm argumentative, I'm causing these problems to the child before the child even get here. right? We have so many,
Spoken like that, and that's a good point. That's a very
right,
good.
right, because a lot of people, a lot of men uh, listen to the community, but the words that they get, they're only concerned about the child support and not the time support, right? To
Right.
me, it's the time support. Like when we're away from our kids, we going crazy,
Yes,
like
sir.
for real, like no question. Like me and my son, my oldest boy, we just right now we vibing. You know what I mean? And it's
Good.
just and I have to say it's because of prayer and fasting. You know what I mean? That it brought him back, right? And so I got that on all my kids because every man wants a relationship with his kids, you
Exactly.
know. So yeah, that was it. That was deep that you were able to recognize, the importance of your emotion, right? Not the emotion that, right? Just the emotion to be there, connect, and help cultivate, what it's like to have a father. That's just very important. Your father did a great job. So my last question is, go ahead.
Before we get to the next question, like just one thing my mother always told me, which go back to the father being so present. You know why kids say daddy first? They know who mama is. They looking for daddy. They know who
Yep.
mama is. Mama didn't
Yep.
care 9 months.
Yep.
So they
Yep.
know who mama is
They
no matter
know.
what. Take that baby, bring it
They
back
want
home.
to know who is
They
that
gonna
other
know who
voice.
mama
Yep.
is. All they know is the voice of daddy.
Yep.
So they
Yep.
looking for
Where's
daddy.
that voice? And they fall out looking for that, man. Like,
Uh-huh.
if it's gone, we don't realize how much damage we cause kids on the onset, right? When the kid falls out the room and that voice that they was hearing, that present, and that's gone. We don't realize how much damage that causes to our kids psychologically, even through attention deficit. When a father is present, attention deficit is reduced 40%, right? And so the father in play, like you play with your kids, all of these things have healthy outcomes to their life as adults, grandparents. Like it comes from both parents being present, but the father brings such a huge nutrient, and we've gotten completely away. We've allowed society to say and paint this picture. I mean, that's why, like, my voice is turning up on suicide because we've allowed society to paint this picture, and black boys in trouble, right? And so it's not enough of us at the table. They can, and I don't want to really get off on a tangent, but that's it. So I got to do something about it because that's the future. Like, what good am I if I don't do nothing about it, right? So the last question is, you know, what does fatherhood mean to you?
I mean, fatherhood, what it means to me is, like we've been talking about, being present. Being present, going over letters, numbers, ABCs, teaching life, not letting them do whatever they want to do, showing them they need to earn their way through life, treat people how you want to be treated, just giving them base values. Letting them know that it's a man here for you at all times. I'm your father. I'm going to always be here for you no matter what. We might even get into spats, but as your father and as your dad, I'm going to be here. That's what fatherhood means, to always be there no matter what. My love is unconditional. Like, there's nothing you could do to make my love change for you. So, and that's the grasp of it. Like, we just love your child. Like, give them all the love that you can give them. Be unconditional with your love. Don't let your love have no type of ceiling. No type of sky is always the limit.
Always.
You can't be too soft. And this when it comes to loving your child. So, and that's exactly what fatherhood means to me, is being present and showing that you care.
Man, well, we got another great episode. I really appreciate your time, man. I know you're very, very busy as you be going, and it's what we have to do. Uh, you know, I love your story because I watched you fight, right? And a lot of people don't, get that sometimes it's the way you fight. Like,
No, it is to never give up, no matter what.
no
To
matter
never.
what. So, me and my son was having a conversation. I was like, well, he was like, how were you able to get me to here? And I told him, I said I had to have a different approach because, I wasn't the perfect uh, dad. I wasn't, always, made the right decisions because I too was emotional from not having my dad, right? So, and when I explained that to him, I was like, I had to take a different approach. So I had to plant these seeds here, plant these seeds there, right? Hopefully, and put that prayer down, and hopefully you would run, right? And every time he would come with something negative, right, I shot another move, right? But my door was, like I told him and his brother, they came recently to visit up to the shop before we closed up. And I was like, my door was never closed. Everything else just told you not to listen to me, right? And I always made sure that I constantly planted a seed. And so when people always ask, well, what about good fathers and the whole nine? It's a becoming. Just like as soon as you got your child at 28, you was like, it was a whole, look at this world. Things
Yeah.
got clear, right? And you're like, wow, I never thought I had this power, and you discovered that. And that's what it means when I say it takes a boy to become a man to become a husband, and a husband to become a father. If we follow that prescription, that will help navigate the lives of many kids. But in this society, some of us, we got to fight. We got a different fight on our hands. And I remember my son telling me, hey man, you're not a good father. And I say, what you mean? He's like, you got this good fathers, man. I just want you to know. And I said, hey man, what's your idea of a good father? Once I put that in play, he went to going. He was like, well, I guess. Oh, so you thought it just automatically happened, huh? you thought that you thought that the kid fall out the room and but you're a good dad, like he was like, I guess I had that all wrong. I was like, yeah, because of perception. Everything tells these kids from television, TV, music, um, stories, magazines, movie sets. It didn't matter. Everything tells these kids that the father is not valued. And so that's why we do these stories. So people can learn that, oh yeah, we out here and we bang. And we put up with all the obstacles.
We're proud fathers too, We're
Yeah.
proud fathers out here.
Yeah.
I take my kids to the grocery store with me, all that type of stuff. Whatever. People always be like, man, every time I see you, you got your kids with me. You dang skippy, I got them with me.
Every chance I can get. Every chance I can get. It's funny. I was teaching my son a few years ago, after I went through going through the divorce, right? My divorce was fighting, right? So I'm out in Wixom, right? So I was teaching my son Cam, all right, here go $21. I'm gonna sit in the car. You go in here, create your grocery list. Let's see what you do with this $21. Let's see what you do with this $35. What kind of groceries you gonna come out of here for me and you, right? Hey, he come out the store, then shop, did his thing, right? But he don't realize he was being taught. See, he was being taught, right? And so that's what we have to do. And it is the it's one of the remarkable things about you, right? Right. When I first met you, right, you always come through the door with a smile. The other thing is you always got your head up, right? You always got information about being healthy, right? You always got your hands on your kids. When you had the obstacle, you always was trying to figure out how to fight through that obstacle, regardless of how you felt in the pain. So that's why I always stay connected, right? Because you are the epitome of fighting, enduring, and having the resilience to be a good father. So I appreciate you. I'm glad you came on. I'm glad we had this conversation.
It was my pleasure and honor. When you text me that, man, you should have seen my face. I was more than happy to do this. I'm like, no, I would love to sit down and let you interview me.
Yeah.
I was like, anytime, we can do this again, whatever. Like,
yeah, right. because it's important. Hopefully, some young man see it. We share it out, and hopefully some men or young men who may be struggling